All right, audience, calm yourselves. I know I've been gone for almost 2 weeks with the exception of Farming Simulator immediately when I came back. But you should also be aware that there might be a couple people slipping in here in order to drop Twitch Prime subs. So expect intros to get complicated and interrupted. Other than that, we're here. We're who we are. Yep, see, there it is. Grimdark James immediately kicking it off. Attaboy.
It's September. What am I supposed to do?
There you go. Yeah. I don't know what to say. Season 3, episode 5. This is where we're at. You should know 2 things about me in this game. Number 1, I spent 1,000 experience to pick up 5 more hit points because after the last session, getting really tired of having to use duty unto death to not die and repeatedly land on the option that is you're bleeding to death, which means no matter what happens, you have a 10% chance to just outright die, period, end of story. The ones above and below that, like 6 and 8, don't have that option. I would be fine if I landed on those. But I keep landing on the you bleed to death no matter what happens option, and that's bad for me. So I'm thinking maybe a little bit more hit points might help. I also need to figure out how to stop James from cutting through my armor with mind bullets, but that's a whole different story. The second is that for a short time, I have been trying to push this storyline where Nero's like, oh, well, the queen is my wife, right? I did that like once or twice. I actually saw... I mean, I don't want to name the person, but we could just call them the cringiest fucking dungeon master on Twitter right now. Did that. And if that person's doing it, I think it's a pretty good indication that it's time for me to bail on that one. Don't expect that storyline to ever show up again at this point. She's my queen, the mother of my child, only in a technical egg way, I guess. Given the horrific circumstances James set up, so
well, that storyline's about to come back with a vengeance, actually, Arthur.
Oh Jesus! What the fuck, James? I literally just made my peace with it 30 seconds ago.
Oh man!
All right, whatever. We got Miriam here, so she can run point for me on whatever I need to know about whatever I need to know. You know. Speaking of things we were just talking about moments before we started the show, let's hop over to Dave. How's it going, Dave?
Oh shit! Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah.
Shit. When was the last time we played? When was the last time we played?
3 weeks ago.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
3 weeks ago. Yeah.
So you know, I'm in the point of my life where, you know, I'm running 2 businesses. Having a baby, trying to build a house, and also generally trying to navigate a landscape where I don't speak the language. Like I'm having, but you know, and all that considered, I'm doing pretty fucking good. Like I've discovered a new thing that you know, buying baby stuff in a COVID situation is like strange and very competitive. You have a lot of parents trying to do the same shit and buy like the best brands and whatnot. And there's because you know, we're buying most of our stuff secondhand. So it's like this weird eBay sniping thing of like trying to get like a baby bathtub or whatever, you know, because we're going to have 1 kid, right? So I don't need to buy something brand new every time. So it's this weird situation of like, all right, did we get it? It's like, no, some other fucking guy got it. Or, you know, no, they're not selling it anymore or whatever. It's just, it's strange. It's a strange one. So that's happening in my personal life. Other than that, like I released a game like 4 days ago. And I don't know what it is with my particular products, but so far every single game it goes like this, like the first game, then the second game, and then the third game. Like it keeps like scaling up, like, and I'm not sure if that's just because of how we're doing the marketing or if it's because the products are getting better. But like so far, like, we haven't released a dud. And I'm really interested to see where this product goes. So, yeah, I mean, this is the big one too, the one they've been working on for a while. So, and we only released like the first alpha, so there's next to nothing in there, but it's selling better than my main products. So that's a strange problem to have, really. What else? Oh, PayPal banned me. That's an interesting problem that I had. So we were selling so many games that PayPal was like,
they're like, hey, are you laundering money? Is that what's happening here?
No, nothing like that. It was just
really?
more
Okay.
like, they were like, hey, so where's that money coming from? Like, we sell games. Like, and I'm like, oh yeah, what type of games do you sell? I'm like, adult games. And they're like, well, you know what? We don't like that, bitch. So they literally stole like $2,000 from me. They're like, we're just going to investigate your company. I was like, what? Excuse me? So, that's fun. If you, here's the thing about PayPal. If you have one and you use it for holding money, don't, because at any time, out of any whim, they can just be like, nah, we're just going to close your account. So, and they have no obligation to give that money back. So my suggestion is, don't fucking use that company. Use it as much as you need to, but never keep your cash there. Like, just take it out. Like, put it in your bank account. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the full extent of everything that I got going on. I'm just stressed. I mean, we started Squibbly. We're building that company up now, and we're 2 weeks into development now, and that is coming together like really well. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I'm firing on all cylinders, and it's feeling pretty good. So, yeah. I don't know. How was your holiday, Arthur? You didn't say anything about that.
That's true. I did a lot of thinking. I made some decisions.
Are you the type of guy that like stands out at the ocean and just stares when you think? Like how were your thinking session?
I didn't, not the ocean, but at the rivers around.
In the base of an empty pool.
Williamsburg. No, not that.
It's just his arms behind his back.
I made some decisions. I said, when did my stream become about making content rather than putting out things that make people happy? Why do I have so many discussions about things? Now, see, I've already broken some of that, because there's another thing I said was I'm not going to talk as much shit about BattleTech, because no one needs that discussion over and over again.
And then we just spent like...
Spoon still drew me into it. I was literally like, I'm going to talk about the positives of Dark Ages and the part that I like. And somehow it just continuously devolved into, let's shit on everything else about Dark Ages. And I was like, no. Here's the things that I like.
Let me ask you a question though, Arthur, taking it a bit differently. Okay. When did making content become different from making people happy?
2018.
Yes.
Slightly before you came in contact with me, I would say, James. I would say then. I love
the meme from The Simpsons, and it's like, oh, you can actually pinpoint the moment when his heart breaks. Now, right? This is like, yep, this is the moment Arthur stopped caring.
It's just, there was a time where I wanted to make shows that instructed people on, here are some cool things that you could do. And I think at Time of Total Warfare might have been the last. Well, no, because Solaris Knights and Oath of Venerseal, I made both of them basically publicly, and we're like, here are all the instructions you need to run a game exactly like this. But other than that, a lot of my shows don't really have that. And I guess the way Fractal ended up has really hit me hard. I feel like Fractal was a massive failure. That
Really?
It could have been a lot bigger than what it was. Well,
Like-
no, there wasn't anything wrong with the cast or anything. It's just that there hasn't been any discussion among people about the differences between the different plays. Like, people just watched it and there was never any critical commentary, which is really what I wanted to have happen.
I would be super interested if that's like, because also I think the biggest problem you have with long play content is that it doesn't really serve a narrative that you want it to. Like, for example, if you took all of the playthroughs and you essentially timed them up moment to moment, right? And you basically like cut in between each person as they were doing their thing at the exact same time that someone else is doing their thing. I think that would be a much more interesting piece of content to view.
That sounds like so much editing. And you
Yes,
especially went on a fucking chaos spree that no one else did.
Yeah, but that's the thing, right? Like, that sort of content would be far more interesting to view. And in terms of like, it's like the you know, the question of like, is it like a long play with the table talk kept in, or do you cut all the table talk out and you just have the in-character moments in the game? Like, what type of presentation are you trying to push with the content that you make? Because I think for the most part, like, you just essentially like show the game as it's played, right? So, and in all honesty, you haven't done much to change that format since you started.
Yeah,
and
it's true. I like my tabletop RPGs like I like my conies. Raw and
but I would be, what I'm saying is, I think if you're interested in gaining like discussions and gaining like interesting feedback, you basically need to change the way that your content is being delivered first.
What you're saying is I need to do a bunch of editing work.
Not you personally, right?
I can feel my soul exiting my body already. By the way, Spoon, thank you for being the only person that laughed at that.
There are two things that I observed already on Discord that I'll re-observe here. First one is that Fractal to me felt a lot like when I've run games at cons before, where obviously you've got a group of people all experiencing the same basic story. And I made assumptions about how Arthur had written the game based upon that I later discovered were wrong. But in any case, when I've run games at cons, I often used to find that players, as soon as their session had finished, would often ask what other players in the same game had done differently.
Yeah,
you know, and one of the most profound things I think as a GM at a convention is seeing people at the convention outside of your game talking to each other about different experiences in your game without you present. That like whenever I saw that at a con, I was like, wow, that actually feels like my game had an impact because these players have sought each other out to chat at the con outside of my game about my game.
I would point out, James, that unless people are doing that on my Discord and I watchful eye of Sauron them, I literally cannot monitor all communications between two of my players.
Yeah, but once again, it's a different forum though, and certainly like it's limited to a convention I'm used to where it's like 300 players, not Gen Con where it's like 50,000 players. So that was one part. Now, obviously, one of the things that we set was we knew that all of the so none of those people that played those con games were going to watch the other teams play their con game. So the difference with Fractal was that a lot of your players, I think most of them, expected to also be consumers of the content. And so therefore you couldn't really talk about what had been done differently at each session. The second thing I observed there was whenever you get a group of people together for any sort of talk and at the end you say any questions or any comments, you can always expect a room full of silence because no one wants to be the first. And at the end of the day, once someone's asked the first question or makes the first comment, you always find things come along after that. So you almost needed to have a seed question or a seed element. But I think that what it could have benefited from, if it were possible, and this is hard to organize, would be to get all the players back together after the fact and have like a 1 hour stream where they all talk about the game and then
like their
discussion gives you the threads of conversation for other people to pick up on.
I would be interested in that, but again, I don't think it's possible to get everyone together.
Did you?
I think it's too late now. I think the moment has passed.
Did you ever play one of the Telltale games, like specifically the Walking Dead games or anything like that?
Yeah. Okay, listen.
So,
How do you not know this? We talked forever about the Borderlands one, which was easily the best one with the best soundtrack.
It was the best. It was the best one. Yeah. Best writing, but they had this mechanic in there where it's just like after you made a decision, it literally showed you what other people had made, right? And there were very like bilinear choices. There was never like 8 options or anything like that.
There's the Game of Thrones one where you don't say anything.
I did that for one character. It was hilarious.
Yes, I know you did the silent playthrough for Sansa.
Yeah, and then she like there was one moment where like you had to answer her or she kills you, and I'm like, no, come on, game, don't do that. But imagine if your playthroughs had something like that, like if you had like a main playthrough, because I think also you made it in a playlist, which also kind of like removes a lot of the emphasis from the game, because we've all seen it, right? You make a playlist of a TTRPG and the first 2 are like banging, it's popping, everyone's enjoying it, and then it just goes and falls off like drastically.
Just checked the view counts and you are 100% correct.
Yeah, but that's how every TTRPG series goes. It has nothing to do with the content level. It's that the first video has, you get the people who land, go for 10 seconds and go, I don't like these people on the fucking screen, and then they leave. And the first video has 10 times the viewership of the latest video. It has nothing to do with the quality level of the series. Every TTRPG campaign has that shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we saw that when MCDM started streaming the chain. It was like the premiere episode had like 3 times the viewership of like more like 5 times the viewership of like a normal episode.
Yeah, I think like the first Night City...
Dave, are you sad because yours is the first episode and thus the most viewed? I mean, what other format was I going to put Fractal together in? Some sort of, cloud where you randomly, like, it just auto picks one of the episodes for you to play? YouTube doesn't support that format. That would be really interesting, though.
Massive, like, honestly, if I was doing it, Arthur, I would have edited it like into one video, all the things into one edit video. There's a lot of stuff that you probably could have cut from a lot of the episodes, but like in all honesty, like I think if you just made like a single video that formatted a single timeline across the entire thing, and you just sort of smash cut to what each player was doing, right? And you mostly focused on like, here's what every player did, and here's all the stats that all the players like came up with, like how many kills did this player get, or how many misses did this player have, or how much gold did they get, or
this sounds really complicated.
But it would have been really interesting to watch. So.
This is what I'm hearing. Is we're gonna have Fractal, the Henley cut.
Yeah, I'll give you the raws if you want them, Dave. You do what you want with it.
Look, man, if I had the time, I absolutely.
If I had the time, I still wouldn't do it like that. I have nothing against what you're saying. It sounds very interesting. It does. Also, just not like I don't want to do it. Like it just work for a product I don't believe in. I mean, I guess I could give it all to Pondo.
You could, so when you could
make Pondo's life a lot worse. And that does have some attraction to it.
And I mean, I think it would be less work than you think, because basically
it would be. It really would be.
You throw all your footage into like a multi screen, and then you just bounce back and forth between the recordings.
I would make the entire video like 15 minutes long. Right. I would cut out like 90%. Yeah.
I haven't been able to catch up with Fractal yet, so I don't know how exactly here's your issue, here's your options are. I don't know if it was like a one or A or B type situation, or is literally several different people did several different answers.
Pretty much everybody did something different, even if they weren't that different. Some people did things very different.
Yeah. So it was.
You could
Dave didn't even play the same storyline as everybody else. He was playing a totally different game. I sat down to play Dungeons and Dragons with him, and he was like, "So Blades in the Dark, how does that work?"
So Pondo, one thing that this won't spoil anything for you, and this is the thing I was wrong about with Arthur's planning for it too, was that when I've run these sorts of games in the past, like con games, I have like a structure in mind including some key points, but I leave a lot of openness in it. And then
Right.
when players go and do those things I haven't planned for, I respond like most GMs do on the fly, generating content. But then when I go to the next session, I've now got that generated content in my mind that the first group did. So if the second group goes down a similar path, they get the same experience the first group did, even though that wasn't part of my original writing. Whereas what it looks like Arthur's done is Arthur's written pretty much every single different avenue of approach. Some of which got completely like one of them, I won't spoil it, nobody went after one particular thing at all.
Right.
But it's not like Arthur hadn't done all the work around what that would actually involve.
Okay. That's the thing, is like and I've been like sitting here quietly listening to what Henry was pitching. I'm like, in my head wrapping around like, how would you approach that?
You could do it.
Very difficult because
I agree. It's going to be a lot of work, but
like I said, you would have to put in it wouldn't be a 1 hour video. You would have to cut like a crap ton out because you would.
Yeah, 15 minutes. That's what I would do.
Okay.
Yeah. I would cut it all the way down to just mostly just like super reactions, and then like basically you time up the major plot points, and then you use that as like an introduction to the whole Fractal playlist, right? You put that right at the front, and then that's what I would do. Yeah.
Oh my god!
Again, I haven't been able to catch up on the Fractal yet, so I don't know how. I doubt it's that simple, because I'm pretty sure the way it is, it's going to be, I'll have to include every 6 different reactions to said problem, and each reaction is a variant amount of time. I think from what I hear, I leave Dave to the side because he apparently went like the whole different action from what I hear.
You wouldn't even include me in this trailer, man. That's how you would do it. You'd cut me out completely because I did absolutely fucking nothing like anyone else.
You would get
until the very end,
and then you would have a whole separate video.
See, you put Dave, like the start of Dave's at the very end, because he does everything completely backwards, and that's like the stinger at the end of the trailer.
No. Yeah. Listen, when he said like a super reaction cut, all I was thinking is we'd get like Tavros the Bull being like, "Oh, Poggers!" That's a 19. Davros the Bull.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Tav champ.
Oh man, yeah, no, it was the character I played is very enthusiastic.
Look, I was writing the same joke for James, but I just literally can't imagine James pogging. So, speaking of Tavros the Bull, let's do your intro, because we're so far away from where I wanted to be, and we're already past the time limit I had set.
Yeah,
I was going to say before you get up into Spoon that I don't mind padding intros, because today was a very interesting game to write, because I knew what you're doing next. And I knew the immediate repercussions of that, but I had no idea what you would do in response to those repercussions. So that
great.
I'm going to be a lot of tonight's going to be on the fly.
That's okay. Listen, if you need time to write something, we can just sit down and bicker as a group for a while. We're great at that, James. We can pad for time. We'll describe what all of our characters look like pog champing.
Look, all I'm going to do is have an NPC throwing the. What if we did this instead to make sure that's something that one character wants to do and the other 3 don't?
Can I pog champ while praying? Is that possible?
Oh, you better. You think the God Emperor wants you to do anything less than be poggers, bro?
Sorry, Spoon.
No, so tonight's break is probably going to be a little bit long because I have to take the dogs out tonight. So,
you're the one that lets the dogs out.
Tonight I am.
You. Okay.
Yes,
just making sure.
Me. And my beautiful new bookcase that appeared in the off time.
Yeah.
Full of D&D and Star Wars, I could see.
That's right. Yep.
Get that iconic D&D red at the top. Yeah.
Yep.
You got any books in there that ruined the planning of all the other books?
Several right now, actually.
So I've tried to keep my collections together. So these are all D&D books here. These are all third-party 5th edition books. I got all the Star Wars books, and then FFG here, and then Iron Kingdoms here. and then just some random ones at the end.
So nothing as bad as like the mid-season Simpsons DVD covers.
No,
But they like completely changed like how they were doing.
There are some of the alternate covers up here which don't have like the red at the top, but it's a little tougher to see. But
yeah.
So no, but I got that put together. So that was nice. I still have some books in boxes still, but those are probably just going to stay there because they're too many, and the bookshelf is not big enough. But and then I just bought right prior to the game, Catalyst Game Labs restocked a game of Armored Combat, so I just bought a copy of that because I did not get it on the first go around. But
I got your copy instead. Don't worry about it. It's still basically unopened and unused.
Well,
apparently you can sell it now. So.
Yeah, you probably could for
it's worth less now that there are more copies out.
That's true.
That's fine. I need it just in case I ever go to a real life convention at some point.
Hey man, when the when/if the pandemic calms down, I go to several a year. So
I go to 0. I've never been to a gaming convention before. Only engineering.
Yeah,
it's not the same. I can tell you that.
No, it probably
one
isn't.
sounds much boring than the other.
I have tentatively booked for a security convention in Las Vegas in April, so provided I can leave the country and get back again.
Oh,
yeah.
Make sure you shoot an RPG when you're over there, James, like I did.
I started my own Oath of Endo Steel game with my home group using Alpha Strike, so we'll see how that goes. It's I like it. It's a much faster version of BattleTech, but you don't lose all of the nuance. You lose a lot of it, but you can do bigger battles in a single night rather than a company-sized battle taking 4 weeks of 1 day a week. I mean, everybody here, except for maybe Dave, knows that pain. But yeah,
I put Pondo through that pain pretty much weekly for years.
yeah, for years on end. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me. Young Justice Phantoms comes out in October, which I'm looking forward to that. So I don't know if anybody else here is a Young Justice fan, but
I have no idea what that is.
Been able to get into it.
I prefer my Justice to be fully matured, full of vengeance.
Yeah. Wow.
And spite.
This is it's the DC animated series of like I don't want to say it's a replacement for Teen Titans, like the old Teen Titans, but it's kind of that same style where it's a little bit more of a serious show. But it's pretty good. I like it.
Pondo the Mad.
Yes. I haven't done like a super whole lot over the past couple of weeks.
Well, our series is out. Ranch Simulator 1 and 2
I've
came
been
out.
working on that, and
I enjoy that a lot.
Listen, Pondo, you have to stop including paragraph long frames for like 2 frames. No one can read that. I have to pause the video to read those. You're
I
like,
do it on purpose.
Hey, don't stop. Just stop.
No, I do it on purpose. Don't
I'm telling you, it annoys
Is it annoying
me.
people?
It annoys me.
Oh, okay.
I'm the client.
I particularly enjoy the whole the role play of trying to tell each other how to actually play the game, but in a role played way. Like, you
gotta flex your F muscle. Yeah.
Or when
I take my eyes out of my head and put them behind the car again.
or when Noah goes out hunting wolves and holsters his gun after shooting the first one. That was
I'm still waiting for the mystery of the dying chickens to be resolved. So
we may never know.
Yeah, the first one edited was great. The second one, my footage completely borked. So as
Well, don't worry. We're filming the third one in 2
Monday.
days. Yeah, Monday. Yeah.
So I'll make sure my stuff is good for then. Because
I've now got in my head that a lot of Americans in the Midwest spend a lot of time running around the forest with a revolver chasing bears.
You know, that may be more true than you'd like to admit.
Every Sunday afternoon.
I would just replace revolver with some sort of bolt action or AR style rifle, but yeah.
I don't know. I can't answer that question. I've only been here for almost 3 years, so from what I hear, it's not too far from the truth. But
has it really been that long?
I moved down here 21st of January in 2019. So it'll be 3 years next January. Yeah.
It seems so long ago.
Time keeps on slipping into the future.
Yeah. And then we finished BattleTech in 2019.
Oh, yes. I remember finishing BattleTech. I still can't watch the final episode.
It's long and rough.
James in his question, he's just like, let's talk about all the nice things. What's great about what Arthur's done with the series. And then everyone's like, here's some really nice stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, look at my face. I'm so tired. I physically feel the same weariness I felt that night.
I'm dying inside.
I'm inhabiting that timeline again.
So when we finish Rogue Trader, Arthur, feel free to ask the audience the question of what did James do wrong?
Don't worry, James. If there was such a question has already been answered several times, don't worry. Someone will let us know. It's probably going to be God, I can't remember his name. Who's the guy on Discord?
The doctor.
The doctor.
Then doctor. Yes. Don't worry.
Doctor, sorry,
if you do something wrong, then doctor will let us know. Don't worry.
Well, he's
got our back. He's got our back.
He came in through the podcast. He's really good. He's offered. He used to comment a lot on the podcast too. So
yeah.
Don't worry. Yeah. James, it's not like you do a lot wrong, except not take my arm, apparently. But
he's not for lack of trying. Now.
Yeah.
Hey, he tried to take your arm. I didn't let it happen. Okay,
I appreciate that.
I burned.
Yeah, I burned the fate point.
I'd say that's my shooting arm, but I'm ambidextrous, so
I've got more mind bullets than you have fate points, Dave. So I'm gonna get that arm.
Why can't you just get somebody else's arm? Pierre could get a cyber arm that has pistols inside it. You know, do the traditional cyberpunk where the hand flips back and then a pistol pops out into the hand. Yeah, look, he wants that. Look at him, he wants it. He's thinking about it right now.
I still prefer the pirate style, having just a bandolier full of pistols in the front that is tossed away when they're empty.
All right. So what I'm hearing is Adrian's cyberarm. I'm glad we are all in agreement.
Yeah.
What else do you have going
my
on?
art has a cyber arm, even though I never said anything about that. It got taken out, I think.
Whose cyberarm?
Pierre had one originally on his art, but I think the artist took that back out.
Yeah.
What else? I pretty much finished Enemy Within after several years of not playing it, and then playing it once. Did you get just test out some recording and then get stuck in it?
Are we talking about XCOM here?
Yeah, he is. Did you play with Long War or not Long War?
Huh?
Long War?
No, not Long War.
Oh boy, listen, come back to me when you play. You know, veteran difficulty Iron Man Long War.
The man has a newborn child.
I know.
He doesn't have that
Time
kind of time.
I have my playthroughs of it. I got it first try, even with Cottontail attempting to sabotage me repeatedly. If there's one character in all of my XCOM playthroughs who will instantly betray the party, go insane, and try to kill everyone, it's always Cottontailed. Stand next to an exploding car, Cottontailed. Betrayal, Cottontailed. Panic, Cottontailed. I don't know what to say, guys. It keeps happening. Told you about those stairs, bro.
I did miss the quality of life improvements that Long War had. Like the fact that when enemies go into Overwatch, it never shows them in Overwatch. So you kind of, if you don't remember or you don't see them do it, you run over and like, it'd be fine. Oh no, they're in Overwatch. Okay. Sucks even more with the Sectopod, even though I think they get a free one regardless. I forgot how much.
You're just in Midnight Suns?
Huh?
Are you interested in Midnight Suns?
Yes, I haven't looked up any of the trailers yet. I've seen the images. I'm intrigued by the idea because from what it seems like, it's not going to be, or what I've heard, it's
Is
not
this
going to be like
XCOM
exactly.
Marvel?
Yeah, this is Fractal is doing it. So it is, the gameplay style is different. It's more like, it is still a turn-based tactical strategy, but
It's more like their newer one, the XCOM in the city, the police department one.
Chimera
whatever it
Squad?
is.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Don't say that because I can't. I haven't really been able to.
Bro, it's a hero shooter with XCOM blood. Okay, like that's what it is. So,
I mean, they've described Midnight Suns as being the combination of Mass Effect's roleplay with the XCOM game loop.
That sounds good, but I saw what they did with the last Marvel game, which is take a massive shit on everyone.
Oh, the Avengers.
Oh, because the Spider-Man is console locked because Sony still owns the rights to Spider-Man.
Listen, that is not a Pondo. If there was a list of top 10 reasons, that wouldn't even be 11. Okay, I didn't even know that. That has nothing to do with why that game was a giant stinker.
That's just the one thing I keep hearing people talk about is like, well, why is Spider-Man console locked?
you know how in that game they made like everyone like different, like just insanely different from how they're represented in the MCU movies.
Yeah, that is
Right?
infuriating. They literally have these great actors who could just voice the characters in a weekend.
Yeah, but I'm just imagining like you know how they made Peter Parker in this in the Sony Spider-Man movie, like the old fat Spider-Man, right? Like, and not a teenager anymore, which is, you know, the defining part of his character.
Oh, okay.
But I'm just imagining, like, yeah, he's Sony Spider-Man. He just shows up. He's like, "Hey, bros, it's me, 45-year-old Spider-Man. How's it going?" Like, that's what I imagine was in that game, and I'm just laughing. I know it's not that clearly, but I just can't imagine it. It's like, you know, surfer dude Spider-Man just throwing out like, "Yeah, rock on, bro." Like, I'm sorry, that's all I'm imagining when I think of that. Because that game was such a fucking shit show. I can see that happening just because they had a good idea over some beers one weekend. Like, oh, shit.
I don't have anything about what you just said.
Don't worry.
I have no knowledge of this place. Pondo, what else do you have?
Not a whole lot. I hadn't quite gotten back into doing hobbying yet in a while. I've been meaning to, but
That reminds me. I don't think that the Gamerati people are going to get back to us at this point.
Oh,
I've been waiting 2 weeks for a reply. I'm thinking it's not coming back.
that's unfortunate.
Yeah, I was really looking forward to it.
I have been trying to workshop the idea of like taking XCOM its mechanics and bringing it into like the tabletop.
No, don't do it, bro. It's too much math. Too much math. It's like trying to convert Final Fantasy Tactics to the tabletop. It's better just let a computer run all that math.
Honestly, I think the Fantasy Flight games did a pretty good job of making it feel like an XCOM game to a degree. Like they move around in like little squads and shit like that, you know? Like,
oh, well, I mean, like, essentially the way I had like an idea to workshop in my head was to either do it like a Slayer's Knight sort of situation, where you have certain players, they have control of a team, or they can have their player go in themselves to fight, and then you would move on. Each player or PC would command a squad through different missions, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay.
And then do a lot of, wouldn't necessarily say rules light, but essentially set up stages for the base building and the research time and investment into new equipment. And after that, instead of rolling a lot of dice for like doing the weapon damage and whatnot, have it set to certain set values. So this does this amount of damage, the next step up does this amount, et cetera, et cetera.
Show me. Hondo. I want to see this. You're just gonna have to make it, and then make a document explaining all of it, and then make a whole series around it, and then I'll be like, wow, this really is your Solaris Knights.
I suppose. It's going to have to be that way because you can do it in whatever system you want, pretty much.
Sure.
You would just take a lot more kind of like wrapping around your head. It's like it's just a matter of adapting it to your setting. So like in D&D, instead of like aliens, which I think they actually do exist in that game because they keep hinting at it.
And there's aberrations in D&D, so yeah.
They're almost the same thing.
I mean,
So
they're not
instead
almost
of, like the
literally.
Xenos, you could do like demons and devils or aberrations.
At 3.5, Illithids were literally from an entire different fucking plane of existence. They were like Saint Cuthbert. I remember when he became a god, and everyone's like, "But Saint Cuthbert was one of the first gods," and the Illithids are like, "Yeah, we know. We were there, bro." What are the fish ones? The horrifying Cthulhu fish?
Kuato?
No. You're talking about the fish people. I'm talking about
the aboleths.
Yes, aboleths also predate the existence of time in 3.5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
because the Aboleth Illithid War is like it's its own book.
Yeah, same with Beholders. Aboleth, Beholders, and Illithids are like
what
the
a
three.
surprise! They're all aberrations. And all of them have a deep relation to both space and water.
Yeah. I played a con game once where everyone was playing Beholders and it was in the Illithid War. It's called
How did that work out?
Nice.
Because all I'm imagining, like, start of the session. All right, don't kill each other yet. Well, I'm the only beholder that needs to be here, so I just might as well kill the other guys.
I use my freeze ray to freeze all of the other beholders in a stone. Then I take their magical gear. All right, before we switch to James, I want to give you a quick tip. We've mentioned Battletech Solaris Knights several times tonight, but did you know that before he saw the name of the show, James thought it had a K in Knights? That's it. That's all I have.
Yeah, I mean,
very good. That would be a really good, like, not double entendre. That's not quite the right word for it. But I think I actually prefer it with the K. I'm gonna choose to think of it with the K because I think it's actually.
I think of it with the K as well.
It's about the sports program that goes on at night. Solaris Knights.
But the sports program could also be called with a K, in which case it's a play on words. It's
it
both.
Could be, but it's not.
James, that makes you feel better. I literally have a game called Good Night Night.
Yeah, look, Donegal Broadcast needs to fire their marketing person because they miss
I
a
am
golden
the
opportunity.
marketing. I am Donegal.
They should have tested this before they went to market.
That's true. You know, James, maybe this is the reason that I'm a C- tier YouTube broadcaster. It's because I'm not good at marketing. That's the only thing holding me back.
I watched, you know the YouTuber ProZD.
Yes.
Of course I know. I watched the YouTube video of his yesterday where he was reviewing Tim Tams, like, you know, the Australian cookies, yeah,
the food of love.
I really enjoyed the fact that his scale went from F to S. Yeah, like he used the whole anime game, you know, S tier.
Yeah.
Everyone knows you need to use your guns to juggle enemies until you get SSS plus combo rating. And then someone says jackpot in the background for no apparent reason. All right, James, do your intro. I don't know where the fuck we've gone.
It's been a hot few weeks. So the two big things for me in the last few weeks that have been catching my attention first off were prepping for like thinking about what to do with Arthur's Dawn Agreement game, like what I want to play.
Spoon. How about that fucking Dawn Agreement game?
Yeah.
Spoon.
How about that Dawn Agreement game?
Also to a lesser extent Pondo, but mostly Spoon.
I did my homework like instantly.
James said the word Dawn Agreement, and I went, "Oh no!"
I'm working on it. I'm sorry.
You have a character and a name and a storyline, Pondo. Mr. Upper left hand corner here. He's all like, I've got 2 characters that I want to do.
No,
I don't really
settled
know.
on Tavros.
I don't really know what I want. I don't know what they look like either. And I'm like, this artist is literally sitting here waiting for your fucking character description. I have a pile of money in my hand, and she wants to take it from my hands, and we're waiting on you, bud.
This is how bad Big Spoon is. I've completed my character, given the description to an artist, and I'm helping another friend do the exact same fucking thing. And you haven't even made your own. Come on, bro. Get it together.
Please continue, Japes, now that we've hassled Big Spoon, or as he's known, Mr. Non-Poggers.
But by the way, Arthur, I don't know how much you know about that, but me and that person go way back.
You mean Tiffany?
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta talk to her Monday. Get her on the same page about Dawn Agreement. And Monday we're gonna start scheduling.
Yeah, I'm helping her out on tomorrow with her character.
Oh, okay, excellent. That's great. So when I talk to her Monday, I won't be like, all right, let's start from the beginning.
Yeah,
so
no, I'll help
there's
her
this
out,
continent.
What does the first D stand for?
It's kind of funny because like she's changed her like icons and stuff, so I wasn't sure it was the same person when she came in. I was like, hey, welcome, and then she messaged me and she's like, bro, what, you were in this game? I'm like, okay. There we go. That's some
perfect. That's great news
Arthur,
for me.
Arthur Perkins fucking super mega marketing right there.
Look,
so.
I gotta tell you, there have been several people that have met up at cons. I even know these 2 people that got married after meeting each other on my channel. Okay,
They had a child. That child
they had
only
a child
exists because of Arthur.
Yeah. Did I get the middle name? No. But did I hope that I did? Not really. It was mostly a meme joke, but
They call her Baby Perkins.
No one calls her that.
Literally Gaming Real.
No, please stop. I have to tell you though, I really like James may raised me about marketing, but I really like all my series lately using Perkins Farms as this expansive Illuminati style super corporation that's slowly expanding into everything.
Remember, we're a family here at Perkins Farms.
Yeah. I'm just. You need to get into Solaris Knights, Perkins Galactic.
Yes.
Perkins Farm shipping. No,
what I've been trying to
Spoon,
lean
say
into
the
in Rank
line.
Simulator.
You say the line, Spoon.
Oh fuck! I forgot the hopper. Oh man.
All right, James, we're cutting back to you.
Yes, Jesus, we're all over the place.
I can't keep memeing.
So as I was going to say, I've not been a big 5th edition player. I haven't played a lot of 5th edition, so I did a bit of research around setting something up for Arthur's game, which got me thinking about it. And then Pathfinder: Wrath of the Righteous came out, which I started playing, and I've got 40 hours sunk into right now. And
Wow, holy shit, dude.
For me, that's pretty good given like how much I also work. So I'm really enjoying that. And then I've had a friend of mine from my Pendragon game who's been pushing me for ages to just play some old school D&D again. So I thought, okay, I said to him, hey, let's do a game. We'll do 5th edition. He's not played a lot of 5th edition either. He had one other friend that could do it as well. We'll do it online because obviously we're still in lockdown. And I thought we probably had a couple more players. So I thought, first off, I'll pick a couple of different Wizards of the Coast modules, so I don't have to write anything, and it sort of frames the start and end of a campaign. I just got to do this module. So I picked out either Rime of the Frost Maiden or Curse of Strahd, and you might have seen on Arthur's Discord I asked some questions about these. And then I went out to my Facebook page and like, hey friends, anyone looking to potentially join a online game of D&D for a campaign, looking at these 2, etc. I got enough responses that I now have 2 groups, one doing Curse of Strahd and one doing Rime of the Frost Maiden. And I had the first game of the Curse of Strahd group 2 nights ago, and I utilized Foundry for that. And oh my God, I'm such a Foundry convert. Like I found so many cool modules that really, like everyone was commenting in the game about how great the game felt in terms of the tools that we use, the atmosphere, like, doing things like having the whole map done out and you can do this in Roll20 but having all the walls set up so that as people moved around, their sightline worked. For people with dark vision, it applied monochrome.
Dynamic lighting,
where they'd be seeing monochrome. We had things like I could drop in if a note was written in a language. If the PC had that language, they could read the note. If they didn't have that language, they'd just see gibberish on the page.
Oh, that's sick. That's
yeah,
really cool.
Good.
Yeah, stuff like as soon as I started an encounter, like roll initiative, it automatically like moved to the encounter music, the combat music. As soon as the last villain died, it went back to the regular sound. I put in dynamic sounds throughout the dungeon, so when there was water running by, you hear the water. It echoed through the cave and everything as well, and had like the fire crackling sounds. It was just so much cool stuff.
Here's what I like about this,
like,
Shapes. I used to do things like that on Roll20, but then I found out that they were so much fucking hassle. It slowed down the running of the game. But I like it. It's like, what did you call it back in the day? New car proud? I feel like you're at that point. You're willing to put in the effort and go the extra mile. And I can't wait until you burn out and become jaded.
Soon he'll open the passenger door on his new car, and there'll just be like Burger King wrappers flying out of there.
And that's the funny thing, because one of the players said at the end of the game, this people would pay for this sort of
I
content
did that
as a
professional game master.
And because the issue then is that once you ask someone to pay for something, then there is a level of expectation associated with that as well. So I had a lot of fun setting up the first time. And running it the first time, but you're right. I think that it might get old after the 10th time or the 50th time, as such. But then once you, so it's one of those things where I've often done things for free that I could have charged for, because that removes the expectations. And if people say, "Oh, well, I didn't enjoy it as much," you go, "Well, you got what you paid for then." But I had a lot of fun with it, and definitely, if I could get this game into Foundry, which there is no Rogue Trader module, but there is a Dark Heresy module, which I am reteaching myself JSON again, so I can go through and modify the Dark Heresy files to work with Rogue Trader.
Talking about this reminds me when I started doing the programming for BattleTech, and then Dunamis is like, "Shh, child, you know nothing. Let me take that from you. Here you go. Here's how. And look, it's a user interface. It looks good now." And I'm like, "Okay."
I remember that.
Yeah.
Games.
What I had fucking worked.
Episode too.
What I had
CSV
worked.
to JSON converter. Do all your work in Google Sheets. You're good.
I think it was like the second battle. It was like after. I won't say it was the second battle you mentioned it, because the first one we had at your set, and then the second one I was like, all right, so we're gonna have Dunamis's thing. He did this what I did, but a lot better.
Yeah. It's okay. I'm pretty sure he was inspired by my brilliance. He could see in between the giant turd that there was a small, tiny diamond, and he got in there with some tweezers and he pulled it out and shined it up.
I think him and Sidious had probably developed that stuff a while back.
I'm very concerned about
I don't think so.
I'm very concerned about how you elaborated on that, Arthur. By the way.
Thanks. I'm great at elaborating
tweezers and a
things.
turd.
Yeah. There is a question of whether you used my idea for the BattleTech dice rollers, or you had it before I started streaming. We'll find out from the horse's mouth probably in 2 or 3 days when he checks in again.
Oh, you don't think he'll hear back this episode?
Yeah.
That would be like, I mean, if
I would just lord it over a spoon the whole time.
If he does perchance respond this episode, save it till the outros to let us know though.
Okay.
Yeah. So the audience, there's a chance you might hear, but you got to watch the whole show to find out.
You paid for the whole seat.
There's that marketing genius.
Hey guys, so the conclusion of the show you can only see if you watch the entire thing. Okay.
That's right. Yeah.
So, stick around for that, huh?
I set YouTube so that only if you've watched all the ads can you watch the last 30 seconds.
I was trying to stream an episode of Survivors with my wife, and for some reason the streaming service was fucked. So every time you got to the last ad break, it would go back to the start of the show. And even if you tried to fast forward past the ad break, it would play the ads again and then take you back to the start of the show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I wasn't happy. Anyway, that's
You
it.
never knew who got kicked off that island.
Yeah, I was saying those ad breaks are strategically placed.
That's right. Twitter.
What is this? An episode of One Piece where they tell you about the last episode for half the new episode?
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Fuck that show.
All right, James, I got the time down. Go ahead.
All right. Previously on Rogue Trader Strings of Fate, the Cowles fleet emerges from the warp at the 13th station of passage, discovering an unusual configuration of Hulk ships hanging in space. As the Hand of Calixis draws closer, the central ship is discovered to be the Exchequer, the ship sought by John Console. The sole living occupant of the Exchequer contacts the Hand, seeking to meet aboard her ship and discuss trade. As the senior crew go aboard, they discover the ship also plays host to a group of Thousand Sons Rubik Marines, who wordlessly escort them to the bridge. Negotiations with the mysterious Magister Ebony quickly turn south as the crew finds himself fighting for life and limb against the Chaos forces. Thought for the day, all demons are falsehood. So I think that you've all returned to the Hand to heal, recover from your injuries, or at least there needs to be some sort of plan about what you need to do here with the Exchequer.
We serve some chains on that bitch, drag it behind us, right?
Can I just real quickly just get a reminder of what we fought last time? Because I'm trying to remember. I just can't remember what it was.
5 suits of people's souls bonded to the armor and an evil witch who we couldn't
I'll even
look
show you the
at.
picture again in
And we needed to do like will checks in order to like hit her or something. Right. Okay.
Remember I dropped the D's nuts joke? And
then failed the shooter.
But that's why I can't remember anything. Okay.
So definitely Art is going to continue dropping that joke until he kills someone with it. So
I've been telling people the D's nuts is gone. We got the next one lined up though.
Okay. Because yeah, I think David also tried the Ligma as well. So.
All right.
I was successful in the Ligma, okay? Like that one landed.
I have a couple of short Stargate Universe style scenes real quick.
Okay, go for it.
So as Mr. Mister's Take These Broken Wings is playing, we get Nero.
Arthur, you mentioned that. Could you just license that song so you can use it
I know.
in your shows? Because you mentioned it a whole lot. It would
I know. Listen.
I'll pay the license. Just so I don't mind.
Listen, Vice City is getting a remake. I'm just going to fucking play Vice City for the rest of my life. That's it.
They're going to gut the audio from that game. It's not going to feel the same.
No, please. That soundtrack that's where I heard that song.
You're just going to get a mod that just puts Broken Wings on repeat for every single radio station. So.
Ammunition.
Hello, intros again. I missed you.
So it's Nero with like a cart, and it's pretty clear that his armor, his ironclad armor is in it, and he's dragging it behind him, and we could see that the right arm is like a torn mess. There's like fist-sized holes punching through the armors one side and out the other. And he just drags it down to Ivy's lab and just like has a conversation with her that we don't hear, and he just leaves it there, looking very sad. Then the next scene is him running around the ship wearing the last suit of light power armor. And then it's him running around the ship and running around the ship, and it's just him running or performing physical activities, lifting things, trying out the jetpack with the light power armor, and just generally working out a whole bunch to represent the fact that he's taking sound constitution 5 times. Just a lot of him working out.
I'm just imagining a scene now with Nero, like trying to learn his jetpack where, you know, somebody's in a room who needs something. He's like, don't worry.
I got it. Huh? I go through the ceiling into the next room. Oh, give me a sec. I'm coming back down. Let me just feather it.
No, I don't imagine you doing workout. I imagine you're doing like a juice cleanse to get that 5 sound constitution features. So, how much health did you actually end up with at the end of all that?
21.
That's a chunky boy.
Yeah, and then I take half critical damage, and I also ignore all the effects of that damage until the combat's over, and then I just fall over and die, like I have the last 2 combats.
Yeah, that definitely sounds like you drunk some Metamucil, I think.
Metamucil? What? What do you think Metamucil does?
Cleans you out, bro.
You think Metamucil
Gets
makes
rid of the
you...
impurities.
I just think he's injecting whey directly into his heart.
That's... What? Not... What the fuck?
I grew up believing that Metamucil, you drink a cup of Metamucil a day.
What?
Become very strong.
You know, like all the ads for drug companies on US television?
Yes.
Australia doesn't have those.
We know. No one else in the world does except for 2 other countries.
Did advertise when Dave and I were children. So it was like the ones, it was like vitamins could advertise, but drugs couldn't. So
Well, we have supplements now, you know.
So it's just imagine like healthy people taking a spoonful of Metamucil and mixing it with water and being like drinking and being like, I'm so healthy and normal. And then, you know,
before I got my morning run in this beautiful
I was going to
day,
say, you know, we have like erectile dysfunction pills, and all it is someone walking through a forest. It's literally just like...
I know. I lived in America, and I only watched the game show channel. Just fucking crazy amounts of like, hey, do you feel tired in the morning? Well, take this pill, and then side effects may include suicidal tendencies and some other things like that.
It's all US advertising is drug companies and liability insurance lawyers. Yeah. Do you have mesothelioma, or does someone you know have mesothelioma? It's
hey,
You
man,
could be entitled.
Steve Harvey's a champion. If he can be as popular as he is on a channel that's constantly barraged by that sort of advertising.
Oh man, let me do my Steve Harvey impression. What? That option just showed up on the board? Is that family friendly? Poggers.
Poggers. Show me potato salad.
So anyway, Nero works out a bunch. He has nothing to do. Oh, no, wait. I do have one thing, James. All right.
Yep.
You ready for it?
Yep.
Nero kicks open a door. And he holds his
Shatters
fingers out
his ankle.
on his right, not blown off arm. He holds out those nice, juicy, fresh fingers, and he says, "I've been looking for you, Faust Cromwell." Our new Atropath, Faust Cromwell. You know who you are.
Also, isn't the doors like, don't they slide in and out?
I assume that they were like toggable doors, you know?
Yeah.
I always assume that they look like, you know,
it's a European where you can bend it slightly, but it still opens to the side. Yeah.
What the fuck did you do to your doors in Europe?
Oh, you don't understand. It's cool.
You're
man.
right.
It's cool.
I don't understand.
In Europe, they have like a door handle that opens in 3 directions. So if you open it once, it like the door comes inward like this towards you. And if you open it a second time, it opens up like a normal door sort of thing. So it's a European door. You know, don't worry about it.
I've lived my whole life thinking that doors were doors, but
It's a door that's also a window. That's all you need to know.
What the fuck?
It's a real thing. It's a real thing.
I just want to know that the other Americans are on the same level of me of just being like, I don't know what the fuck is being experienced right now.
That is probably it's probably one of the biggest culture shocks because you try and open the door for the first time and it like falls in on you, sort of thing.
Yeah, I can see that being alarming.
Yeah. But really, it's just going into window mode. Anyway, sorry. Please.
Your new Astropath, you're talking about Tolias Markov?
Oh, well then why do I have new Astropath Faust Cromwell? I do have the name Tolias Markov in a different location.
Yeah, because Canicus Cromwell is one of your administrators for your
Yep. All right. So anyway, Tolias Markov. I open the door and I say, "I got your name wrong." Tyleus Markov, turn and look at me with those cyber eyes.
Yes, Master of Ordnance.
I'm hunting something, and only you can guide me to the target.
Okay. What are you looking for?
I close the door, and I say, I'm glad you asked. What do you know about the Inquisition?
I mean, do we have an Inquisitor on board right now?
Okay, good. All right, so yep, we got that minimum level established. Perfect. And I take a big map of the, I want to call it the Canterbury Expanse, but that is the name of the ship. Yep, Calixis.
The Koronus Expanse or Calixis sector?
The Koronus Expanse, and I say, the thing that I'm hunting, we cannot observe it in person because it would eat us, probably. We know where it passes by leaving a psychic blank zone in its wake. Therefore, if we are to find it, only you can guide us to the target. So here is my galaxy brain plan. I want you to start getting in daily contact with everything in this area, and I pull out a big pen and I circle most of the Koronus Expanse, and I'm like, become good friends with everyone in all of these locations. And if there is ever 2 or 3 days of a blank zone in a row, you're to send a report to myself, to the Space Marine captain, whose name I obviously know but may not physically remember at this point, and the Inquisitor. Yes, that guy. Thank you for telling me that. Tyleus Markov, cyber guy. So anyway, your job is now to basically never sleep and always send people messages so that, we know if something goes dark for an extended period of time, we either assume warp fuckery is at foot or our prey is near.
So you're looking for a shadow in the warp, yes?
Yes, that would be what it will one day become called in like a couple dozen years. Yeah, exactly.
It's it could work, what you're talking about here.
I know it could work. That's because I came up with it myself over the last 3 weeks. I'm sorry, what I meant was 3 hours. Since the last episode. I turned to look directly at the camera.
I'll confirm with Mistress Zantai. I think she can help in this case as well.
Perfect. I think she's a little tired right now because of all of the warpiness, but, do whatever. She's a mutant. She can handle it. I slap him on the back and I go, you're a mutant too, so giving you extra work makes me feel good.
Stable mutant.
Look, I didn't say it was a bad thing. I just implied it given the entire cultural heritage between our peoples, My pure-blooded humanness and your... I don't actually finish it. I just stand there and stare at him like it's understood.
Where are you going with that one?
I don't need to finish it. He knows what I'm talking about.
Listen, he's got to store those mind bullets too. So
I don't hate astropaths. I have friends with astropaths.
Oh, Jesus.
Listen, James told me way earlier in the campaign, that I had programming from my time that made me automatically dislike mutants. And I've always tried to play towards that, even if the idea disgusts me. Not mutants. I like mutants, especially, teenage Ninja Turtle ones. All right, James, that's it. That's my Galaxy Grade plan. Nero goes to sleep. His job here is done. He turns and he switches his cape on the way out as well. Because just to remind people, he got a Darth Vader makeover.
No cybernetics, though. So
yeah, that's right. I'm still the superior, predator in that regard. I don't need cybernetics to help me out. I 100% man. Well, okay, I do have the mind cybernetic that lets me shoot another gun, but that's because it's really cool.
Was anybody else wanting their own scene to respond to what happened last session, or should we move on to the next group scene?
Honestly, I can't remember too much about what happened last session.
It's been a hot few weeks, as I said. So.
Yeah, really, it has.
I'm pretty good. Yeah, I think I'm fine.
So probably about 24 hours later, once everybody's sort of like recovered and taken stock, we're in a room. The four of you are there. Along with the four of you are Ivy. That's my notes. Sorry. Sargon, the chief bosun, and Soren, your twist catcher.
Actually, James, before we continue, did we ever finish Ares' jetpack upgrade?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. So I would like to make it a point of order to make sure that Ares is just always accompanying me now, if that makes sense. Cool. Great.
Yeah, he's even bigger now. He's like the size of a bear with a jetpack. So
hell yeah.
That takes up most of the corridor.
Good.
What was that Mega Man series where it was like rock and roll and like their cyber dog? You know what I'm talking
Rocky?
about?
Was it Rocky? It's Rock. No, it was something like that. I know.
Yeah, it's like
I know
Rockman or something. But you know what I'm talking about, right? I want that to be us. We're the two cyber cannon kids, and Ares is like our flying dog pet.
Rush is
Thank you.
Rush.
Thank you.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Rush.
So, Ivy speaking when we come to this scene. So, based on all of the auger data we picked up from the Exchequer, there's nothing else alive aboard. All systems appear to be capable of function. We can tow it, we can activate it, we can start the engines as required. I guess the only concern is that your report, Captain, indicated that you fought non-living entities aboard the ship, some sort of robotic power armor. I don't know if there's more of that on the ship. The augers can't pick that up directly, or at least if it would have if it was capable of picking it up, we would have picked it up before you went aboard. And then also, based upon the description of those strange devices you saw in the corridors, it sounds like there is certainly profane technology aboard the Exchequer. So I've been speaking with Sargon and Soren here about whether or not it would be worthwhile doing a hard search of the Exchequer to remove anything dangerous before we tow it. But Sargon here tells me that based upon the size and unfamiliarity with the Exchequer, that process could take up to 2 weeks to fully clear the vessel.
That's actually shorter than I imagined it would.
Well, it would require considerable manpower from our fleet to do that as well. Probably at least 12,000 working to clear the ship.
You're going to have to excuse me here, but I'm not entirely familiar with mutant powers or mutant abilities to that descript, but surely there's some way to, evil sense evil kind of deal. Do we have capabilities like that we could use in this instance?
I'm not saying that we trust the evil, horrific illusion witch that we just killed, but she did say that those 5 were the only ones she had control over. And you would think that if she had any ability to summon more defenders to keep her from horrifically dying, she definitely would have used it right about the time she was gasping for oxygen.
Nero, you and I have both interrogated these types before.
Yes.
We know that their word is as good as far as we can throw them.
I predicated my entire statement on that.
So I don't think we should even remotely consider what she said to be factual.
And I guess monsters and the like aside, there is also the matter of the profane technology. I don't know. I've only got your descriptions of what you saw in your walk to the bridge. There might be more in other areas of the ship, other techs, things that are quite dangerous to the minds or souls of our crew.
I actually have new abilities, right, James? So I took
Yes.
the knowledge thing, the glimpse from beyond stuff. So let me ask you this: as someone who's gone a little bit on the deep end now,
Yep.
when it comes to this sort of stuff, is there anything that I can do to specifically say, like, you know, would chaos entities that aren't exactly like allied too well, like, sit on the same ship, or like, is like, you know, are we going to expect like more than just like one type of chaos type enemy to face on something like this?
It's unusual. So each of the chaos gods basically has like two opposites as such, like that they're there's one that they definitely don't like and one that they dislike as such. So it's rare to see all four of those forces working together. There is this concept known as chaos undivided, which is worshippers of chaos that don't ascribe to any particular chaos god and try to worship chaos as a holistic entity. But everything about your encounter with Magister Ebonique and the forces she wielded would indicate that she is a follower of Tzeentch specifically, which would put her diametrically opposed to Khorne, for example, which is the god of war. But you didn't get the impression that, just based on your assessment, you know, what you know of heresy and heretics, it's unlikely that there are other forces hiding away on the ship, or else, as Nero indicated, they probably would have come to her aid if it would have made a difference in that battle. The only real risk we're talking about here really is those devices that you saw, which appear to be some sort of soul trap, some way to capture and store the energy of the soul at the point the person dies.
All right, Nero's going to run his still human, non-mechanical arm through his hair and go, Ivy, is this
your new thing, Arthur?
I just want to... I want to start tempting fate, you know? You gotta... I want the camera to zoom in on the arm as...
I lick my finger, which tastes surprisingly like a burnt fate point, and I put it up into the wind.
Ivy is there. We perceived that those devices were blocked by a warpy anti-field generator whose name I can't remember.
The Gellerfield?
Yes, that. Thank you, Ivy. And also the shadowy figure standing in the corner of the room. Can we turn the Geller fields of all of these ships on? Do they still have that capability?
So I've been able to get not a lot of data from the other ships in this pattern. When I've augured them, I mean, I can scan them, but they all appear to be in a halt state. So damage to the point that they have plasma drives which couldn't be lit, no internal systems functioning. They are, for all intents and purposes, dead ships. So that and what's more, the ice coating, 3 to 5 foot of ice coating every single ship, makes it hard for the augurs to penetrate.
You see, like, the dollar signs of Pierre's eyes looking at these ships just start to fade away.
I mean, Hulks still have quite a bit of value, right? I mean, someone's going to salvage that shit. You don't go to a junkyard and be like, wow, this is totally worthless.
But she does drop onto the table in front of you just an explanation of, like, this. So of the other 8 ships in the configuration, she's now to get like at least some basic IFF data from. So there is a Hazaroth class privateer called the Piercing Vow, a sword class frigate called the Admonisher of Mazora, another sword class frigate called the Cold Verdict, a iconoclast destroyer, which is only a chaos configuration, called the Wanton Destruction, a Dauntless class light cruiser called the Armorium Veritas, a Lunar class cruiser called the Liberator of Fire.
Isn't that chaos as well?
No, Lunar are a very popular Imperial design. A Tyrant class cruiser called the Fearmonger, which is an Imperial design, which is more used by Chaos now. And a Defiant class light cruiser called the Vengeful Burden.
Can you send us that list? Because I lost you around Piercing Hell.
Yeah, I'll put it into Discord.
You know, I do like lists of things. Especially when they involve the words Janko Scourge.
So effectively, like, think of like an 8-pointed chaos star where you've got
Mhm.
sort of like the cardinal north, south, east, west points, and you've also got the northeast, north, like southwest, etc. points. The cruisers form the major cardinal points, and the frigates and destroyer form the minor points of the 8-pointed star.
Incredible that they went to such lengths to make such a balanced configuration.
Before we leave this system, I think we should at least destroy a portion of the symbol.
I mean, I thought we were bringing them all with us. We don't leave money on the table. We're rogue traders. Can't we just put all these things in?
Tow 8 ships.
Can't we?
Yeah,
We have 3 ships.
Yeah, we could take 3 ships. Basically, we can each ship can safely tow another.
I think regardless, we want to destroy the 2 chaos ships.
With that being said, if we can reactivate and partially recrew the Exchequer, we could potentially tow 4 because we'd have 4 functioning ships, 4 Gellerfields.
I mean, that would mean we only leave
4.
That's not right. If we bring 4 with us and we reactivate one, that would lead. Oh, is the Exchequer
only have
not
3
on this
with us.
list?
Yeah, the Exchequer is the center of the
Oh,
8-point star.
okay. Yeah, all right. Yeah, you're right. That would leave 4.
So in total, we would bring 5 ships with us because we're commandeering 1 to use temporarily. Okay, so let's work on the process of getting the Exchequer cleared out. In the meantime, I'll figure out what we can do with some of the ships. Figure out which ones can be easily repaired in relatively short notice that we can use for our personal use. And the rest we'll sell for whatever we can get.
So to go back to your earlier question, you asked about the more psychical warp-related things here. I did reach out to our new astropath, but he indicated that he was busy with another task.
It's true. I did assign him to a cool task.
And Riani is still recovering from their journey here.
Right.
So, but I think that I know nothing about the impact. I mean, like obviously that there's that giant warp gate, or not warp gate, but aperture beyond these ships. I don't know what role these ships, if any, play in that.
Okay.
But Captain, I did, when I got the IFF from these ships, I also got the transponder codes, and I've run the numbers. Things don't look good. Every single number adds up to not a prime number, a factor of 9. There's some strange things happening numerologically here.
You know, I wasn't going to be concerned about any numerological problems until you said 9.
Certainly does
you have
lend itself.
9 problems 9 times, that's 81 problems, so it's not significant.
The issue is what 9 represents.
Yes, sir. Look, if we can get the Exchequer working, what's the Iconoclast is the one that we don't like, right?
And potentially the Tyrant class.
Yeah, well, we take the 3 cruisers and whatever the most expensive of the frigates is, and we just bounce.
Look, if you're interested, Captain, I have included all of the mathematical data on this data pad. It came to 81 pages, but that felt a bit strange, so I added the bibliography to make it 82 pages.
Yep, that's 9 9s, by the way, Captain. Just for math.
82 isn't, no.
No, but 81 is.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not sure I believe in this numerological stuff. Something, a good blaster, bolter, pokey religions. Nero just looks really tired at that point. He's too tired to meme.
Let's all take a day to rest. And tomorrow, Nero, Dawn, you two will be leading the search through the rest of the Exchequer to clear that out.
Oakley dokily.
I'll
Well, there's some other
organize
teams.
flight crews to go check out the other ships.
Yes.
Do we have any way of making a massive explosion to blow up the hulks of the ships that we don't like?
I mean, we could potentially tow them in positions right next to each other away,
Right.
and then blow them up from a distance.
Yeah, but using what?
We do just have
Slingshot them into the sun.
warships full of guns.
There's no sun in the system.
Yeah, we're in null space, and yeah, I just look at Adrian. I'm like, look, I'm not saying we couldn't do it, but ammunition costs money, and also it's going to take time. Like taking up shooting.
We have 2 weeks, so
We
can
don't have to shoot them. We can place explosives on board. We have
A Hulk is really, really big. I look out a window that conveniently appears, and
I understand how big these ships are, Master of Ordnance. It would not be difficult for our fleet to scuttle them.
They're already scuttled. We just need to super
No.
scuttle them.
They are hulked.
I mean, a Hulk.
Look,
Explain to
the
me the
two of
difference. Let's have a discussion. Explain the difference between hulking and scuttling.
A hulk can be salvaged
How do we unhulk it?
by placing explosives at key locations within the hull.
Just press delete twice.
Detonate the plasma drive or the warp drive. Would be
Right, but
sufficient
those
to-
things are all non-functional on these ships, right?
Yeah, that's right.
But they could be
required-
repaired.
Could they?
or at least gotten to a point they can become explosives.
Oh, sure. I mean, if that's true, then we just need to get the four of them together and just blow one drive. I was under the impression that that wouldn't work, which is why I'm having this. Okay. So I'm like, all right.
That would be it'd be considerable work though. I would say I'll probably need to get parts and yeah.
Sure.
It's not just the ritual ignition we're talking about here.
Yeah, look, if you can get one ship to blow up all the other ship, that's fine. All right, we go visit the Exchequer, and then my job here is done. Man, this is like a story 3 seasons in the making. Can't wait to see what we find on there. It's probably going to be really easy to just walk through it and admire all the beauty of the Exchequer class Exchequer. We've waited so long for it. Who knows what treasures that will definitely not kill us on board?
How much money did we put into this, and how much money are we getting out of it?
Blank check. A blank check,
question.
Master Adrian. A blank check. We're coming out with theoretically upwards of 5 ships, so, you know, one of those ships is worth whatever we want. Oh, Captain, here's my requisition form for a man-portable las cannon, because I'm tired of not being able to carve through armor.
Well, if you just kept your crack rounds, you'd be fine.
Yes, Captain, I've decided to switch to only using crack rounds to initially start out with.
Okay.
I know.
You still want... Oh, I see.
A man-portable las cannon, yes. So I can shoot both at the same time. I'm
Was
just
the
that
heavy
good.
bolters not doing it? It seemed like they were effective.
It's true. The heavy bolter does have, but it's like a lot of small effectiveness, you know? And I'm really that, I like to have a high effectiveness rating of anything that I'm firing.
Fair enough.
Yeah. It's just good to have options, you know, to throw the kitchen sink at people. I've actually killed a man like that once.
With the sink?
Yeah, of course. You know, we were fighting in the ruins of a city, Kazkur on Arcadia, and I had to rip a sink off of a wall and beat him to death with it. You know, you never know what heretics are going to do. I pick up an orange and walk out of the room.
All I'm thinking of is the Casino Royale black and white scene. Drown a guy in a dirty toilet. Yeah.
All right, so you go off to rest. At some point before you launch your expedition to recover the Exchequer, you're on the bridge, Pierre, when your Master of Vox says, Lord Captain, I'm receiving a Vox communication, but I can't get any origin.
That's Pierre's just like looking at like, what on earth? Heavily considering not, but put it through.
Right, Sandstorm starts playing.
So the screen just comes up with static, and you hear a voice which doesn't sound human. Like it's got like a deep tone and a resonance to it, like definitely something like monstrous vocal cords are producing this, but it is speaking in low Gothic, and it is something about the voice does sound vaguely familiar. And it says, I am Senath, the time twisted. You have earned my ire. Waiting for a response. Still, the box is open.
Why would we have put his ire in our prized urn? I would have put it in a vase.
Does that name ring a bell at all, or?
Just give me a logic roll.
Okay.
Yes, it's your uncle. How did you forget this?
Huh. So many, well over a year ago, when you visited Iacanthos the first time, you went to an ancient cathedral in the wilderness that your sister had visited at some point in the past, and you somehow triggered almost like a recording, a psychic recording of a Thousand Sun sorcerer.
Oh.
Who indicated he didn't say anything about being the time twisted, but he did say his name was Steneth.
Man, that's a callback. Shit.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember them mentioning you.
What did you say? You remember what, sorry?
It's like I remember your name being mentioned before, not the latter part, but are you the same one that was back at that cathedral world?
What? That hasn't happened yet. Wait, where am I on the timeline?
There's like a pause for a moment. So you have encountered one of my engrams previously. Know this, Pierre Cowles. I lent the aid of my brothers to Magister Ebonique. I gave her remit to care for them as we awaited a way to lift their curse. And you have destroyed them. My brother Fyrock, he had such a beautiful voice. I would have thrown 1,000 worlds into the abyss to hear his voice again. And now you have stolen that from the universe. We will meet soon, and you will pay for your crimes.
Send him a
Does that mean I have
recording
to listen to
of
your terrible voice again?
send him a recording of one of the Thousand Sons dying, going.
They never made any sound. They're incapable of making any sound.
I know, but I want to make it red versus blue. See, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway,
what you're
Cut
saying,
off
man.
where I can make a comeback.
Yeah. Sorry, the Vox operator indicates that. Well, you probably can come back, and the Vox operator says that we've lost the signal. I don't know whether you heard that or not.
I like the idea that you just make the comeback anyway. Like, you know how when someone hangs up on someone and they're on the phone and they pretend to keep talking? It's like that.
I guess the thin at the time twisted ran out of time. Yeah!
Cue the Who.
Oh my god.
I'm gonna bring this one back too. I'm gonna keep it fresh. Said it's like putting quarters into his costume.
Does anybody have change for $1?
I got $1.50.
I used to listen to a podcast that used to put shit on CSI Miami, say like, why would a redhead move to Miami? That was the biggest complaint with the show.
What the fuck?
I can understand why, but that's like the odd thing to.
What was that? Oh, God. Now you got me thinking about it. But what was that TV show that had the guy from Band of Brothers in it? And he played a detective that went to prison for like 20 years and then came out and he was a cop, but he was like a cop out of time because he didn't know about like modern technology and some shit like that. Oh, what the fuck was it called? It's the same thing. He was like a redhead dude from Band of Brothers. Like he was the captain dude.
Damian Lewis is the actor's name.
Yeah. But he was in a fucking cop show. God, what was it called? And it was kind of like Castle, but like before Castle.
Life.
Yeah, it's
Life.
called Life.
That's what it was. Life. Oh man, yeah. You got me thinking about that now. Interesting show premise for like 3 episodes. I think that's the one where it's like, what's this Xbox thing everyone keeps talking about? And they had to like hack an Xbox to like get evidence or some shit. Oh god, it was such a dumb fucking show. Anyway, sorry.
All right. So, foreshadowing aside, we have a
James, there's zero level of subtlety. That's not he just outrightly told us he's going to be coming to see us.
Yes, that's like we don't know when because he's the time
That's
twisted.
still not foreshadowing.
That's like James asking, "Hey guys."
Yesterday.
Yeah.
That's like James asking if we look at the cloaked man in the corner so that he can do some dialogue with him.
Yeah. Foreshadowing is when I'm like, "Yep, just got my perfectly normal human right arm right here. Just gonna eat my cereal with that right arm. It's so human and flesh-like."
So
Watch him lose the
foreshadowing.
left.
All right,
Watch
okay.
him lose the left leg.
Chekhov's Demon Prince aside.
Demon Prince, what the fuck, James? Could you like tone the content down a little bit? For Jesus, we went from we have to blow up an entire fucking invasion fleet to we get trapped on the bridge with an evil sorcerer who we can't shoot, and now you're like, here's a demon. What happened to the time where we were just like, there's a couple miners on an asteroid and we had to get it back in line? You remember that storyline? That was a solid storyline.
You got greedy.
This is
Holy
the
shit.
same man who's bragging that you could take on a demon prince no problem.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, you got this now? Okay, cool. We'll just all sit back and let you handle it.
What's this arcane symbol of 9 ships at a chaos gate? No, all I see is 9 ships are now mine.
That's it. You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Anyway, so we can have a montage of exploration of the Exchequer, because there are no other forces there are no other marines, no other creatures, although certainly Soren and his twist catchers, he sends them into every duct, every crawl space, trying to find any sign of something he might miss. But at the end of the day, the only questionable elements on this ship are the soul cages and the occasional signs of ritual magic having been used, like blood daubed on walls to form profane symbols, or all things that can be removed. The ship itself is remarkably unmolested based upon what's been clearly done aboard it or with it over time. There is no sign of chaos mutation, like their bulkheads have been turned to flesh or the walls bleeding as such. The ship appears to be intact. Now, as for as part of the same montage, we see several flybys of Adrian squadrons by these other hulks. Weapons fire can't seem to penetrate the ice. It's not like it breaks off and reforms. It's just they may as well be just shooting steel as such. It doesn't seem to hit or anything. These other ships give off strange readings, and even where people get close enough to sort of peer through the thinner parts of the ice, the holes are definitely warped by chaos magic. The other 8 ships have all been here considerably longer than the Exchequer, you would guess. That they are certainly have been affected by the chaos of this place.
Mm-hmm.
So at a later point now, Riani has recovered, and so we have another meeting of minds in which Riani has finally deigned to gather and join the group to talk about her impressions of this environment. So I think that the stability of that chaos, of that warp aperture, is somehow tied to the pattern. and the what would you call it? So what do you call the keystone? The keystone is, so what is that? What do you? I'll send the walker. Sorry, you're explaining it. Sorry, there's some chat going on in Discord I suddenly saw that I thought was related to the game. So the exchequer is like a keystone in the doorway. So we can remove it, but there might be immediate repercussions in this place. So I suggest that when we plan to move it, that we're not just towing it a few thousand kilometers away and planning our next step. We need to be leaving with the exchequer as soon as we take it from the pattern. There may be an immediate retaliation, so to speak, by the warp, and we don't want to be here for that.
But it would be closing the warp, because this is the key to the door. It's not going to make it bigger, right? It'll make it smaller.
It keeps its current situation stable. I don't know whether it will get smaller or larger, or simply become less predictable.
But removing the exchequer would definitely make it more unstable, is what you're saying?
Yes. But it would definitely change what we have now, which is a stable entry point.
Can we move the other ships in any way, like gather them together to blow them up, or are we still having problems doing that?
The ice is very thick.
Yeah, but you can throw chains around the ice and then drag the ships together, right? Is that
so? If there's been attempts to tow the other ships, there is some force holding them in place.
Okay? All right, Captain. This is my new recommendation. The other ships are too chaosy for us to recover, I think. I mean, we could get a specialist in here like the Inquisitor, but I think that everyone, I'm loath to leave 8 piles of money behind. Instead, what we should do is leave all of the torpedoes behind. And as we pull the exchequer out, blow the torpedoes and take out all the other ships as we go. We'll do that. Cool guys don't look at explosions as we open up a horrifying warp maelstrom super explosion.
I think like each time he hears that like these ships are like too chaosy or not worth anything, Pierre's just kind of in the corner with his hands on his knees and like,
I know, Captain. I know. Nero sips on a Scion Jade Falcon issue smoothie. Says, I know, I don't want to leave the money behind any more than you do, but some people say that the ships are singing to them, and that's normally a very bad sign.
Yeah. Yes, let's have these ships ready to get blown, and then
I've heard the words corridors of undulating flesh, and honestly, I prefer my corridors neither undulating nor flesh made.
Agreed.
Let's just get the exchequer and get out of here. And blow up the other ships, obviously.
All right. Nero turns to the nearest window and he says, suck it. But at the time, twist it. Suck it. And then he really noisily gets the last bit at the bottom of the smoothie with extra whey protein in it.
And then you like try and like shot into a bend, but it bounces off the rim.
No,
and
don't
like,
even say that. My ballistic skill is the highest you could humanly possibly have.
Yeah, he throws it into a bin in the next room.
Yeah, banks it off of 2 doors.
But he's got bulging biceps, so he overestimates how much effort
I'm
he needs
fucking
to put into
Hawkeye,
it.
man. I shoot my arrows with a second arrow.
The way Nero works is when he finishes the cup, he has like 9 other empty cups and throws all 10, and we see how many cups actually go in the bin.
There you go.
And when one of them does, he's just like, perfect shot.
Yeah, accuracy by volume. Definitely.
Statistically, I'll get 8 of the 10 of them. Wow, y'all talking a lot of shit about Nero right now.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you make that shot with your robotic hand that you don't have?
So my question for you then is, to remove the exchequer, are you reactivating and crewing the exchequer, or are you towing it with a ship?
I feel like we can just tow it, right? We don't need to reactivate it if we're just bouncing immediately.
No, just let's just tow it.
Which ship is towing it?
Oh boy, the fact that James is
Not
asking us this makes me... What? No, it should be this one.
I mean,
Think of all the shenanigans we can get into.
We do have the most amount of fate points on this ship.
Exactly.
So...
You want... Listen, we give this to Talmanes Parrington, right? We never hear from that guy again. You know what? Both ships are lost forever.
So the hand's towing?
Yeah, we'll tow it.
Okay, no worries. And are you removing any of the soul traps from the ship first?
I thought we were doing that the whole time.
Sorry, was that part of that process was to get rid of them? Like, were you just
I
looking
would
for
think
where
so.
we actually? Okay,
Listen, Nero's not the kind of guy who clears a ship and as he walks by a soul trap goes, "That's a problem I'll fix later."
Okay, cool. So
that's the kind of problem he fixes by sticking an explosive pack to it and kicking it out the nearest airlock.
So that there is a they just jetted into space, I assume. Yeah.
Are soul traps like those bug things that they had in Fifth Element that they had to fire off the bottom of the ships before they took off? Like, am I thinking of something else? Like,
they're an arcane device designed to capture and hold a soul. So
it's like a Starbucks. Okay.
Or like your opponent's Yu-Gi-Oh arm thingy, you know. Just send you to the Shadow Realm.
On a motorcycle? All right.
The final scene before we go to break is like the three ships pointing away from this configuration with the hand tethered to the exchequer, and we see like the hand's engines all fire up and the chains go taut, and on board the bridge there's this like moment where Spooners, you're like, so you've achieved full power and the chains are torn, but there's this moment of resistance. And Nero, at this point, you feel like this knot in your stomach, like, you know, there's sudden tension that causes, you know, you to like this cramping sensation. And then a moment later, the exchequer suddenly picks up inertia and starts moving with the hand. But there's this moment of inexplainable resistance, and the moment that happens, Nero, that knot in your stomach suddenly goes. But on all the consoles on the bridge, suddenly, like on the monochrome screen, the words "deal done" appear for a moment, and then there's a flicker and they go back to the regular screens. At this point, the maelstrom starts to rapidly expand and contract, like tendrils of warp energy start to lash out into real space from the aperture, and all three ships enter the warp as the warp energy start to flow out into the 13th station of passage.
Whoa! You forgot the part where all of the torpedoes we left blow up all the other ships, right?
Oh yes, yeah, that's right. Yeah, there are explosions. The camera goes white from the explosion, like it flares out, but we don't see the results of that. The last thing I will point out, by the way, is that when Ivy was getting the systems of the exchequer at least stable enough to be dragged, she did pick up that according to the systems on board, it listed its owner as Sebastian Winterscale.
That a name familiar?
Yeah, he's the guy that runs Winterscale's realm.
He founded Winterscale's realm.
Yes, it's like one of the biggest rogue trader dynasties in the area.
Yeah, Caligos Winterscale is the current scion of it. But yeah, Sebastian's been dead for about 500 years.
Sure. The Eternal Praetorium technically belongs to the Winterscales as well. We just haven't done that court case yet.
No, I think we did it like in the...
No, we
transition.
never had that. We have not pressed this issue with the Winterscales yet.
Well, we spent profit factor to get the Eternal Praetorium.
Yeah, effectively, you spent profit factor between
okay, all right,
to get it out of escrow, basically to clear up the legal matters. Yeah. And make it yours officially.
All right. Post ad break is Nero going to the nearest toilet and going, oh, my stomach, too much whey protein lately. His camera goes black, but we hear him unzipping his pants.
Jesus.
What did you think was gonna happen when you told me my stomach hurt? Oh, perfect. All right, we'll be back in more than 8 minutes because someone's got to let the dogs out. By the way, Spoon, get fucked. I'm not waiting for outros to smug this at you. Dunamis dropped a flying elbow drop on you.
Yeah,
He got the idea from me. Look, just accept it. I make BattleTech better everywhere I touch it. I'm just like, here's a great idea.
Hey,
let me show you how to
know what?
execute it poorly.
If that's true, go at it with the Dark Ages era, man.
I'm gonna make Dark Ages slightly better than it was. All right, here we go. Intermission. All we hear is a loud pooping noise.